Oh dear. Well, 3 races to go, and we start at the Circuit of the Americas. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 8 of our FPRL Season 8 Championship. As I said, we are in Austin, Texas at the Circuit of the Americas, where, let's just say, there's a lot that can happen. We saw last time out at Baku, and the driver on board with right now, David Lawface, picking up his first victory in, well, definitely 4 seasons. I want to say 2 years, which we have seen quite a lot. A lot of droughts in Tier 3 ended with victories, but tonight could be the make or break for everyone. I'm Cruiser1872. Good evening to you, my comms partner. Welcome back as well, Monkey Boy Kurt. And last time out, you went to a football match. Need I ask what the score was?
Well, good evening to everyone. Good to be back after a week off. I didn't actually go to the match. It was literally just because they were on TV, and I didn't get to watch them that much. But it was a 1-0 loss, and they played absolutely woeful. But yeah, happy to say we won at the weekend, so another 3 points on the board, back up to the mid-table. But yeah, no, back tonight for round 8, and hopefully we're going to have, I always say every single time I'm on comms, but another fantastic race in Tier 3. It never fails to disappoint us, and hopefully we're going to see another cracker tonight. That championship fight is getting ever so close, and it's hotting up really, really much now with only 3 rounds left to go in the season.
That is, as I said, David Lawface could technically lead the championship tonight if things go his way, but the primary leader right now is Radical and the Flow. They've been up at the front of the pack for quite a lot of the season, and they've been exchanging top spot to and fro since Silverstone, and that was around 4 races ago. So there's a lot that can happen tonight. We've got 14 drivers on the grid. You'll notice Novus Uadia has DNF'd early. That is due to him missing his check-in, and lead rules state if you do miss your check-in, you will be starting at the back. As Magic Ram sets a 33.7, sets the tempo for tonight around the Circuit of the Americas, a track which either you like or you don't like. For me, I actually don't mind this track, but that's because I'm a full traction merchant. And Silverside Boy has actually tipped us a drink early and has said a toast for you, Monkey Boy Kurt, and to celebrate your birthday. And of course, might as well share the celebrations. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, another year older. Everything's sort of, you feel like, oh my god, it's going to go so quick nowadays. But yes, that year on the cards. But thank you, Gary, for that drink. Hopefully, many more redemptions come in. As I said in the chat this afternoon, just before the race started, I got lovely 2 new bottles of Crack and Black rum. So got to get through that, and what a better place to do it than on stream as Wizard of Oz goes fast into a 33 flat.
Yeah, that's certainly a lap to get him on the board. As I say, Magic Ram a 33.7, Sheriff Woody a 35.1, and we'll follow Mondo for the remainder of their lap, as is Magic Ram definitely getting off to one side, almost off the track to avoid their teammate. Mondo taking the fall from Tier 2, drops into Tier 3. He's been steadily building his way back up. I think it's fair to say, for the Ferrari driver, as through the final 2 corners on this 20-turn circuit, actually one of the newer circuits, and actually the oldest circuit from North America, at least the United States, on the calendar, which is of course Miami and Vegas. I love those tracks, street circuits. Anyway, Mondo a 33.6 puts him up in 3rd, and I think we'll focus a bit on the Red Bull. Radical flying solo tonight. His teammate Locker, I think, missed his boarding flight to head to Texas, so he's going to decide to meet us up next time out around Interlagos. So shouldn't be too much of a problem for Locker. Hopefully all goes well, and this time they catch their flight. But Radical wanting to soar like an eagle around this track and at least get himself in contention for provisional pole, which I notice as well, the Tattooed Star on a 33.0. This could, that's actually a good start for the Tattooed Star. He's been a solid midfield driver throughout the season. He's just been on the wrong side of the points. Radical, a couple of victories to his name. What is he going to post to start off? It's a 32.9. That's him now in the mix, and hopefully that continues for the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, he definitely wants to continue this fantastic form he's been on. Didn't really get off to the best of starts, it has to be said, this season, but he's definitely found his form since that back-to-back wins that he had earlier on, and now obviously finds himself leading the championship by 6 points to the Flow, who is yet to set a lap. He's currently on his outlap, but I'm just seeing another one go up, I believe. I was thinking it was Sid putting a 33.7 just to go to the back of the pack for now. But yeah, Radical is where he would want to be, and especially with only 14 drivers on the grid tonight, he's got more and more chance of getting some more points as the Flow is now coming onto his lap. But as you said there, Cruiser, the Tattoo Star, let's be honest, he hasn't really been up there that much this season like we have seen him previously in other seasons, but a 33.0 at the moment puts himself P3. He'll definitely be happy with that. And it looks like he's going to go for another run. He's got a full battery now coming across the line, but he needs to turn his back wheel because he's currently on none.
Well, that would help for the Tattoo Star's sake, but turn 1 in this track, from what I know, is so difficult. Just to pick your braking point. You do go uphill, so you can brake a little bit later, but it's just getting it stopped at the crest of the hill, which is going to be so difficult for our later races in the week. Of course, Wednesday, our Tier 2 race at 8 PM UK time, and Friday, our Tier 1 race at 8 PM UK time around the Circuit of the Americas. Be sure to tune in on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FP Racing Lead. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, hello to YouTube, and if you want to join FPRL, as Jay...
Wow.
Hello, Jay.
Wow.
Well, that's one way to cut off the promotion. Jay Undisputed has put his name up in lights, a 32-1. 8/10 ahead of Radical.
That's mental for a first run. We might see that come other people's second or third runs, but for a first lap in Tier 3, that is a crazy lap. What a lap that is from Jay. Potentially could have power with that. I don't want to say too much. Here comes the Flow, the other title contender. There's many title contenders, but he's currently sits P2. Hasn't won a race this season. Here comes the Flow. What's he going to put in? The 33.1. Puts himself 5th, which is okay. But Jay, yeah, nothing stopping him. Button will be one of the last people to set his lap, as we've got one of our new drivers tonight in Speedy B in the Aston Martin tonight. Is currently still in the pits.
Hopefully we see a bit of the Aston driver making a debut tonight in the league, and he done that through joining our Discord server. There's no shortage of ways to join, as I was somewhat rudely cut off by Jay's flying lap, literally. You can join FPRL through our Discord links on Twitch. Nightbot will drop a link to our recruitment server. We have our X account, formerly Twitter, FairPlayRL. A Discord link is posted on our homepage, as well as our Instagram, FairPlayRL. A Discord link is posted on our homepage also. Click the link, complete the sign-up steps, and we'll get you in, as we might be starting the countdown soon to Season 9, who knows. But for now, Season 8, we are very much approaching the climax and our very climactic end to the season. But before we get there, we have qualifying as Magic Ram. There's a 32.8, and if he stays there, he'll be very content with a P2 on the grid. But we're still waiting on Button, the only driver left to not set a lap time, but we've got just under 8 minutes left to go. He should get this lap on the board, and as long as he manages the battery, which I've noticed quite a few drivers have struggled with, but he's only rinsed as much as he can towards the final corner. So easy to get in the throttle early, rides a bit of the curb, and Button is a 32.4, so that puts him on the front row, but still 3/10 behind Jay.
Yeah, those times are getting a bit quicker though. Obviously, Button's 32.4, Magic Ram 32.8. We saw some good pace from Magic Ram back in Belgium, but he just couldn't keep the car within the white lines, and couldn't get a time on the board in that race. But he's got some pace around here, it looks like. 3rd place at the moment. That would be definitely his highest qualifying position of the season if he continues to stay there. Some more people now, as the Wizard of Oz breaks into the 31s, a 31.8, and that now leapfrogs Jay by 3/10. So maybe we've got a lot more quicker times to come yet, as we've now got a few more people coming across the line. Sheriff Woody is just starting his lap. And we've got our new driver in Speedy B. He's now out on track, and he will start his first run now. So he's probably going to go for 2 runs. Are we going to see also Mongo? Mongo's coming around the final corner. He's 6 temps up. This should put him into the 32s as well. Oh, he maybe just lost a little bit on that last sector, but he goes up to 7th with a 33.0. Interesting to see what speed he can do. This is his first race tonight. As you said, Cruiser joined through the Discord. I think he actually found this on YouTube, I think he said it was, or Instagram. So you can find us in various places. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. We've also got, going around the final corner, is the Flow. 4 attempts up. This will get him into the 32s, but where it will put him, he's obviously fighting for this championship. Puts him up to P4. Radical, the early pole sitter, or the provisional pole sitter, now down in P6.
Now that'll do good for the Flow. David's up there as well, right behind Radical by a couple of hundredths. Mondo up in 8th, and the Tattoo Star getting that early lap in is now 9th. But Panic End, the driver who we've not mentioned much in qualifying, is also in this title hunt. He's currently 18 points behind Radical, and with 3 races left, I think you can figure out the averages there. He's got to outscore him by at least 6 points a race. Easier said than done though, especially from this qualifying. But Tier 3, it's always someone has an advantage at one track. I don't know why, but it's almost like the 2012 season. There's not one track that's favoured one driver more than once. Obviously, Radical picking up the victory at Silverstone and Monza, but Radical did win at Monza. He crossed the line first. Silverstone, it did help with the penalties, but in that day, I think it was the Flow that took the flag to cross the line first at Silverstone. There's not one track that has been a strong candidate for at least any driver, as Panic End is a 33.0, keeps him in 8th. I think you'd want to stay there, as Speedy did set his lap time and is currently at the back in a 33.8. He's actually going up towards the second sector now. Got Radical Magic Ram on their outlap, the Flow coasting to the pits. Jay's actually invalidated through sector 1. Easy done for the RB driver. And with that, let's jump back towards Speedy B in the Aston. I see no batteries being used, so that's going to be a quick rush back to the pits. Sheriff Woody's invalidated, and I think that's it before the final runs. So as it is, Wizard of Oz still leading the way, but the only driver in the 131s.
Yeah, I'm just seeing in the chat that the voice connection's not great, so I'm just going to leave the party. That normally seems to work. And if you just give me a quick re-invite, Cruiser, that would be ideal.
Right, I'm on it. And while we do get that sorted, hopefully it sorts itself out, because it's done that. I think they've done that at Australia, and it worked when we done this. Sid Sandwich up by a 10th and a bit, up to the top of the hill, and now swooping down towards. I need to get the calculator out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's too many S's in sector 1. I'm just going to say this is turn 13, because why? I can. And expect a lot of overtaking through here. And the Tattoo Stars wish you a happy birthday also, Monkey Boy Kurt, if you can hear that, because, well, I think you are, because you're back in the party. But Sid will keep on board with, at the end of the lap, what has he got to offer. He's lost a little bit of time in that second sector. In the third sector, you need to hope you've got enough tyres left and enough grip just to survive sector 3, or at least hope your setup favours this. And now through the horseshoe of turn 17 and turn 18 on this track, before throwing it to the left on turn 19, riding the curb, but avoid the sausage curb on the inside. Don't run too wide. And at the final corner, as I see, Sid has actually went to no battery and has abandoned his lap. Let's hope he's got enough fuel for one more run, because currently 12th place for Sid. We know he can do better. I don't even know you in the stream. Tattoo Star, by the way, Monkey Boy Kurt did say thank you just didn't hear it.
Oh, I think it switched itself off, actually. I was going to say that, because it's not my fault. But Here comes, Radical's just gone up to P3 with a 32.1. I think that's probably going to be the as best he's got, unless he's got enough time to get that battery charged up again for one final run. He does have the time to. Here comes a Magic Ram. He was a tenth and a half up through the final sector. What can he do? He can't, and I don't think he's going to have the time. No, 1:24. Magic Ram will not improve, and that is where he will stay. We have got, is it now a Tattoo Star coming round on his final run? Malngo's coming round as well. The flow. I'm just trying to see who is going to be the next driver to come across the line. And
I think it may be Button.
I think you might be right, yeah. Button coming through 2 tenths up. This will put him up to around about 32.1, 32.2, which won't improve his, well, it will improve his time, but it won't improve any places unless he improves through this final section. And I'm wondering, has he got any little bit of toe there off the Wizard of Oz potentially? Oh, he's got one.
Oh, you had to wait.
And I think that's going to make him miss this next lap as well. It hasn't.
That would have been P2. A 32.0 for Button, but it's not going to count. So now, where do we lie? Wizard of Oz is still clear. Radical's done his lap. Button's not got much more. I think really, unless the flow can pull out a storming lap here, it's going to be between Jay and Wizard of Oz to take pole position for tonight's race. Wizard of Oz we've seen get pole before. Jay, I think his best qualifying of the season, I think has actually been 9th at Spa as the flow's lost at around turn 12, and that is their lap done. Over to you, Jay. What have you got ahead? Actually, he's behind the Haas, who has invalidated his lap. So now it's all down to Jay. What can he do? Can he find 3 tenths on his lap? David Lawface is going through towards the end of Sector 2. He's turned out to 7th place. Panic ends in 8th. Mondo is the first one on track. He's going to complete his lap up by half a second. This will put him ahead of the flow as the Tattoo Stars into the 32s ahead of David Lawface. If it stays like that, he will be very, very happy with that for the Alpine driver. Mondo around the final corner. He's got a bit of VRS left to burn to the line. It's a 32.2 and it's ahead of Button. So it's just got a lot better for the Ferrari driver. Now who else is next? It's David and then Jay. But we're going to follow David first around the horseshoe. And now the penultimate corner. He's threw it to the sausage curb. He's suffered a little bit on the exit. That might have cost him a run at beating Magic Ram. He's going to go to the line, and David, it's cost him. Just not enough for the Williams team. But what about Jay running to the line? He improves, but it's 2nd place for Jay. Button's done his lap. What about Panic End? He needs to improve from 10th to have a good chance at points. With a couple of drivers not racing, it's only 8th for Panic End. And last up will be Speedy. He beats Sid Sandwich in his 12th, but that's going to be it for qualifying. And Jay, despite his best efforts, it's Wizard of Oz who takes another pole position, this time at the Circuit of the Americas.
It's another great lap in qualifying for the Wizard of Oz. He's shown good qualifying pace all season, as to be said. And he'll be happy with another pole position. But Jay starts on the front row with 32.0, and he's not out of this championship by any means. If he can get a win tonight, it puts him up to 70 points, and there's still 2 rounds after this. So he'll be looking to do as much as he can. But our championship leader, Radical, put a good last stint in there, up to P3, and his nearest rival, the Flow, down in P6. So yeah, it's looking good for Radical at the moment. David was then 3rd in the championship, P10, and then Panic ending 8th. So it's looking favourable for Radical. There is plenty of it still can happen, though, in the race to come. We've got 28 laps of this circuit of the Americas circuit. And, yeah, wondering now what that's going to be like. Who can stay off the time penalties around this track, especially through that left to right in Sector 1?
Indeed, track limits might be a big part in this race. And there's been a few drivers who that's cost in the past, and we've seen that happen to Wizard of Oz, but that wasn't track limits, that was a speeding penalty in the pit lane. Here's hoping that doesn't curse him tonight. But he takes pole, I think, for the 3rd time this season actually, for the Haas driver. Jay Undisputed, arguably his best qualifying of the season on the front row. Radical's in 3rd with Mondo behind him. Button and the Flow. Magic Ram in 7th, he'll be content with that. Panic End, the Tattoo Stars up in the top 10 ahead of David. But crucially, Sheriff Woody as well. He's only a couple of points behind Jay, But Jay starting second, Sheriff Woody down in P11. And I think really for the likes of Sheriff Woody, if they don't win tonight, it might be game over for their championship. And the closer we get to the end, the more our title rivals and champion elects, they whittle down to the final few. And as it is, I count 8 drivers separated by 43 points, and the top 6 covered by 29. So any victory for the top 6 is going to put them in that mix. But if you like the Flow or Radical or even David for that matter, getting that victory and getting that advantage ahead of the pack, 2 races left, all you need to do is just keep up. But we've seen Tier 3, it's easier said than done. You can't strip this, and we have not stripped a single thing this season, mainly because if you try and strip it, they tear the page up after the lap it's written. And I see Silverside Boy has subscribed at Tier 1 for 25 months, breaking that 2-year dirt, and on a 20-month streak of subscriptions. Thank you, Silverside Boy. And of course, September on Twitch. All subscriptions to all your favourite channels, FP Racing League, are discounted by 25% for resubscriptions, at least from what I know, watching Yarno Opmere stream, because I got a gift sub off of him a couple of months ago. But still, 25% off for a resubscription. What are you doing? What are you going to do? It helps us expand the league. It helps us. That's it. It helps us with development. It helps us expand FPRL to be a bigger brand. Unlike certain other leagues that we know what we're doing. I'm still mad at WR, but we'll move on from that because I'm gonna flip my lid. So, Monty Boy Kurt, how's your Monday been?
It's been good. It's been very good. Got some nice gifts. Got some nice money. I'm now pouring myself a Kraken and cherry Pepsi. So,
Hey,
you hear that? AMSR, whatever it's called. I don't know if you can. I'm not. Just pouring the Coke into the glass. Lovely sound. But yeah, that's been alright, mate. It's been alright. Got a nice week off work now as well. So chill out.
oh, there you go.
It's well deserved, if I may say so myself. But yeah, like you say, this is where points are so important in these latter stages of the championship. This is where you need a win or a good points finish to keep your chances alive in the championship. So anything really, I mean, like you said, I think you mentioned Sheriff Woody. I mean, he won the first race of the season, and we thought that he was definitely going to be up there for contention, but it just hasn't gone his way since, really. But he'll definitely need a good finish today if he wants to stay in contention. But you know, Wizard of Oz, Jay, Radical. I mean, every one of those drivers that are really sitting within the top 5, top 6. A win for them. It's going to be very crucial going into the last 2 rounds of Brazil and Abu Dhabi. But yeah, very interested to see what tyres people go on as well, what strategies people are going to try and pull off. Looking at the race director, I'm not going to say what tyres people are on, but not so much of a splitting strategy, it looks like, from what I'm seeing.
I wonder what that means. Maybe we see some change in conditions later. Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. And Sid Sandwiches took up your offer of, what was it? It was a rum and cherry Coke. And it says, there you go, have a drink. And one for me as well. I'm having myself Pepsi Max. Not that, though definitely Monkey Boy Kurt's drink is going to get the vote from the likes of Locker, Steele, David for his bevy of the week. But when's that coming back, by the way? David, where's the bevy of the week? I know you're in chat. Then again, though, the bevy of the week, I think it was a short-term partnership. Because sooner or later we'd have to tone it down to like Ribena or something company brand water. I don't know.
As long as we don't go as low as Fruit Shoot, we're doing all right.
Nah, we think we might actually hit bottom of the barrel, and then we go for Fruit Shoot, and then we go for a J2O.
Well, you might hit me on a day where I'm feeling a bit like I need some calcium and I get a glass of milk next to me. You don't know.
Well, there's plenty of time for that, but I think now it's time to focus and for some drivers to put up or shut up for the championship as we get underway for our formation lap. And like you said, not a resounding split, but I see Button, the Tattoo Star, and Sheriff Woody on the hards, as Speedy and Sid Sandwich have disqualified. No sooner has the formation lap begun. Not ideal, their tyres will be nice and frozen for a run up the hill. Not what you want, as you see from the possible race strategies. A one stop is likely, and even a two stop, but we're going to see some one stops. But just set to one alone in this track, that is going to kill, I would say, the front right tyre and the front left, just for the amount of high speed cornering that you take on this track. And I see Speedy is pretty upset with Codemasters. Don't worry, I got a 10 seconds in another league and he didn't remove it, even though rules state that a car in the pit lane isn't a yellow flag. But that be Codemasters, they don't know what they're doing, but we still buy the game because we are gullible and we are sheep. Anyway, in context of qualifying, I keep an eye out on Novus. He said the best part of half an hour now to prep himself and get the optimum strategy for the race. Starting at the back, overtaking here as possible. 14 cars though, so you need to make your way pretty quickly before a DRS train is made and or broken. If it's a Tattooed Star, and even Button for that matter, just surviving the early laps is going to be vital for success. And if you're the Wizard of Oz, Jay Undisputed and Radical, you keep doing what you're doing from qualifying and ensure that you stay at the front of the pack. As I see, there's the RB and the Aston, sole Aston tonight for Speedy B, as there's Wizard of Oz pulling up to the grid slot, and you just see the elevation up the hill. It's not a long run towards turn 1, but we expect to see a couple of drivers braking very late, playing the odds at turn 1. We'll jump on board with Button, because the camera angle, I don't really want this for the start. Anyway, just wait now for Nova Suada to get in the grid slot, and then we have 28 laps of this Kota circuit, and potentially Judgment Day in the championship. But who's going to make this their night? It's 5 lights at the Circuit of the Americas, and we are underway for round 8 in season 8. Button having a tame start. Wizard of Oz holding his line as Jay charging him in towards turn 1. As in towards turn 1, Jay is going to go down the inside. He's going to force Wizard of Oz a bit deeper there, as I see a little bit of a twitch there from the floor, losing out to Magic Ram and a couple of others in the mid pack. But Jay Undisputed getting the run up towards turn 1. He had the better start in the second phase, and he's now up into first place. Radical's lost out to Mondo. Button's holding station, and the Tattoo Star is making a challenge here on the floor. He's had a dire start from 6th, now down to 8th.
Yeah, looked like a pretty clean start throughout the grid. I was watching from the back. Novus made up 2 places. Oh, and the flow is gone!
Oh no!
And that is crucial for the championship. Radical will be watching that and thinking, fantastic. As the flow, I don't know what's happened there. He's clearly been punted round and going into the barrier. I was just about to say there was some good starts from Novus and Speedy. Speedy's up from P12 to P9. And yeah, Sheriff Woody got a bad start for line, maybe because of those hard tyres, but the flow is out, and that is vital for the championship. No points for him. Radical now needs to try and get as many as he possibly can, and just to beat the likes of Panic End and David. That's what he'll want to do. He sits in P4 ahead of everyone currently that he's fighting in the championship. Oh, and Speedy has left the session, and I wonder if we can get him back.
I'll certainly try and get Speedy back, but for the flow, that is... I did say it was Judgment Day at the start, and that is nothing short of a disaster.
Oh, Radical's in! Radical's in!
Is this scheduled for Radical? Let's have a look. Do we see a front wing change, or is it a set of hards? It is a set of hards. It's a scheduled stop. And, of course, who else? The man who done the full race in a set of hards last time out decides, you want to see me do it again? Partly because he needs a front wing change, but David and Radical, is this now go to the end? As, oh, Button and Mondo are changing places. Hopefully that gets sorted out. As hopefully we can get Speedy B back in the lobby, as the flow, courtesy of a Tattoo Star, this Tattoo Star, it said the flow had a snap of oversteer and it sent him off. Oh, of all things, the cold tyres, it just wasn't meant to be. As there's Mr. Speedy B, we see him, and there's all my friends. I'm shocked I have any at all. But still, Radical and, of course, how poetic though, it's Radical and David that are going to try and go to the end of the race. And last time out at Baku, it was down to those two drivers, and it was won by literally 0.02 of a second. That is roughly, what, 10 millimetres between the Williams and the Red Bull. And now they're going to try and go even further in this race. They have to do 27 laps on the hards. And they better hope that they don't wear badly around Sector 1 and Sector 3. Otherwise, it might be a two-stop race for the pair of them. David, though, was forced into that pit stop because of front wing damage. But Jay is doing what he's had to do, and he's got the lead off of the start. We should get back underway at the end of lap 3. As I see, Speedy B is back in the lobby. Nova Suadia from 14th up to 9th, surviving the chaos. And there was couple of places there because of the Radical and David's pit stops, but the big winner at the start here, as we'll get the positions graphic, probably is Novus and Speedy B, both of them making up a couple of places. The biggest loser, I think really there's only one driver that can go to. And so obviously boys asking, whose comms cursed the flow? And he's looking at me. All I'm saying is it was Judgment Day, right? I didn't put a single curse on one driver. I said it is Judgment Day. Alright? I didn't curse anyone. I spread, let's just say, I equally distributed the curse and it all manifested to the flow.
It's going to be interesting now to see if Jay can keep the lead. Obviously, he's had the pace in qualifying to put himself on the front row, but the Wizard of Oz, obviously, with the pole position, be looking to get back as soon as he can. Mongo up in third. We thought he'd be up there. He's actually got 39 points in 3 races, which, if you look at the points per race graphic, so, well, I say it's a graphic, but if you work out the points per race that everyone has actually scored, Mongo finds himself at the top of that list. 13 points from 1 race. So, very interesting to see that Mongo has definitely made a name for himself, most definitely, since he's come back down to Tier 3. He sits in P3. But I think Button here will be liking the safety car as he's on the hard tyres, and the guys in front of him, yes, we are going slow behind the safety car, but their mediums will be wearing out a bit quicker than Button's hards. He just needs to try and stay with the pack. To win for Button tonight will also put him right back in contention of this title fight. He currently sits 26 points behind Radical, and a win and a fastest lap would obviously put him level if Radical was to not score. So definitely important. There we go, the message from the race control in the game. The safety car is in this lap. Jay will get us back underway. I don't know if I've ever seen him restart a race from the lead, so this will be interesting to see how quickly he does it. At the moment, not very.
No, I wouldn't imagine so. I'm going to leave our driver standings up on my phone because I don't have a PC, I can't be that fancy. But I'm going to make sure there's some form of live standings throughout this race because this is going to be so important. So as it is, from the current standings, Jay, it will be on 70 points, Button will be on 72, Radical down in 12th but expecting to make up a few places at least, is on 68 and as our championship leader. The flow will remain on 80. So any driver who can get ahead of the flow in the standings, they're going to find themselves in this title hunt with 2 races to go. As Jay backing the pack up and slingshots out the final corner to get us underway once more on lap 4 at Kota. Indeed he has done a very good restart. He's caught Oz out perfectly there for the RB driver, and Wizard of Oz don't know answer towards turn 1, but Button was really caught napping out there. The top 3 broke away and Button still got that train behind him. I think Button might have actually fell asleep and waiting for Jay to make the start as we get the tyres back up. And of course the 2 pit stops, as we've said, Radical and David at the back, as Magic Ram already played with a 3-second penalty. And we've mentioned at the start, we'll say it again, you keep those penalties down, you're bound to make up a few places after the checkered flag.
Yeah, Button on the restart. I don't know if he's struggling because his tyres are a bit cold. He's on the hard tyre, which obviously are a lot harder to warm up, especially when you're going slow behind the safety car. But he's 2.1 seconds off his front three, and he's really going to want to get closer. He's not going to have DRS come the next lap, and everyone behind, who's at the moment on the faster tyre on mediums, is going to be all over the back of him trying to overtake, and that's really going to slow him down in his pursuit to try and get a good position when it comes towards the pit stops and the alternate strategy. But at the moment it's Jay that leads. Wizard of Oz has got the gap down to 4 attempts, just now 5. Got a bit of a bad run out the last corner, and he's trying to use a bit of battery, I feel, because Jay is only down to 87%, whereas Wizard of Oz now down to 62. But Mongo's sitting in there as well, trying to keep within the DRS train. But Magic Ram now has dropped out of... and there we go, is a move here. Tattooed Star and Panic in, going side by side through the final corner. Magic Ram now has dropped out of the DRS of Button, so that's maybe saved Button a little bit. But as we see now, Speedy going up now into P7, making a move on the Tattooed Star. Side by side into turn 1, and Speedy now, after a not so good qualifying in his first race, finds himself up in P7 on lap 5.
Very good move there from Speedy, taking advantage of the Tattoo Star and his eagerness to get ahead of Panic End, who himself looked to get ahead of Magic Ram. Taking an awkward line in towards the penultimate corner, Panic End had to back up, and that now allows Speedy up to 7th place. But the gap between the top two is, you can see there, it's nothing, but Wizard of Oz gets the launch out of turn 12 and takes the lead away from Jay, and he's got a DRS to defend against the RB, and Jay knows just to sit in the slipstream and defend, but he's got to look behind him. He's using a bit of that battery. He's even thinking about an overtake in towards turn 13, but that was more tax to defend, I think, for the RB driver, because Mondo is looming large behind the pair of them. All 3 of them running Ferrari engines, ironically, as Button 3 seconds back from them on the hards, and Panic End has finally got ahead of Magic Ram. Next up to have a go at them is going to be Speedy, as both of the Ferraris now have a 3-second penalty. Mondo just picking up his first of the race, as what else is happening behind us? He Sid Sandwich actually having a go at Nova Suada in towards the horseshoe, turn 17. Not happening there unless you are super brave or you're super gutsy, and I think it's I think Sid knows you don't make that move on lap 5. As we start lap 6 at the foot of the field, David and Radical just hanging in there, making sure they stick to the back of this train. Nothing silly for them. Sheriff Woody losing out the DRS to the Tattooed Star, and Nova Suada looking for a move at turn 1. Not happening there. And that is your fight for 9th, with Sheriff Woody downwards, separated by around a second and a half. And we're seeing very quickly a couple of groups in the pack, and poor Button in the middle of it. And by the middle of it, I mean no man's land.
Yeah, it might turn into a lonely race for Button, at least for the time being. He's got 2.7 in front of him and 2 seconds behind him. But Jay is just about stayed in DRS, and I think their Wizard of Oz got a very bad run out of there. Lost 4 attempts just on the exit, and Jay will now try and surely go for the move back pass. He has the DRS. Is he going to use any battery? I don't know if he's going to be close enough come the braking zone. He gets quite near to him. Oh, and he just stops it just in time before he runs into the back of the Wizard of Oz. But this fight for the lead is very much still on, as Nova's down before 9th, making the move on Sheriff Woody. He sees himself up into P9 now, and that's 2 points on the board for him. As Sheriff Woody coming back on the outside now. Is he going to make the move stick? Is he going to do the switch back? He is, and he just get a good run, but it looks like Novus has just about got that covered, as Sid and David having a bit of a battle at the back as well. Radical has got past, he's up to P11, but looks like also Mongo now has made a move on Jay. He's now up into P2, and he's 7 tenths behind the leader, so he's now got to stay once again through this twist sector 1 within a second, and he might have a go at taking the lead down the back straight.
I think for Jay it's just about not fighting that battle too hard. Mondo's on that early penalty, so he's got to be a little bit more cautious than, for example, than what Jay and Oz can be, because both of them have a clean slate for the moment. But lap 7 of 28, we're a quarter of the way through our Tier 3 United States Grand Prix. Wizard of Oz lost the lead at the start, has brought it back, and now the top 2 just about break DRS to Jay, so now he's going to be quite possibly under potential increasing pressure from Button, and this is where Button will slowly get back into this race. He's now closed that gap to Jay by around 8 tenths on the previous 2 laps, and Panic End 2.4 behind the Williams. He's just hanging in there as a McLaren driver. As I see in the background, Speedy B looking for a move here on Magic Dram. He's not going to make it into the hairpin, but he brakes really late. Thinking about it, trying to force Magic Dram into a mistake, or even taking an awkward line now through this stadium, sector 3 for Speedy B. He's going to look for a move up the inside at turn 16. He's going to just sit behind and let Magic Dram dictate the pace through sector 3, but Speedy B getting a fantastic launch out of turn 14. Is he going to make the move? No, he's not, because Magic Dram spun and Speedy B helps him round. Nothing he could have done there. Magic Dram in the background into the gravel trap, and all that good work has been undone for the Ferrari driver. Magic Dram losing it around the horseshoe, and Speedy B, albeit he didn't want to, but I don't think he had a choice, aiding the Ferrari into a 360 pirouette, and Magic Dram now at the back of the field. As I see Radical would make the move potentially, Nova Zoardia. This is important for him. He's just got to manage his tyres though, does the Red Bull driver. He has made his pit stop. He doesn't need to do it again, but he's just going to sit behind Novus through sector 1 as the Tattoo Star and Speedy B survive that just to break away from the Sauber driver. And the Tattoo Star, actually, don't count them out. He started in the hards and is still keeping up with the likes of Speedy B, and Panic End's not far away from him either. So the Alpine driver could be on for a result here, as well as Button, who has caught up massively to Jay. 7 tenths on that lap alone.
Yeah, he definitely has. 1.2 seconds now is the gap, and he soon will be within DRS as they're just going to go back to the battle for PA as the Tattoo Star and Speedy having a battle. But here comes Radical now, down outside of Novus. Is Novus going to try and keep the position? No, he's not, and Radical has already passed before the braking zone up to P8. This could turn into a very good strategy for the championship leader, providing he can take those tyres to the end. Just quickly in the chats, we've got good evening from Shadows. Good evening to you, mate. Coke Comms drink from Nigel Piggle. Thank you very much, matey. Appreciate that, and also one for yourself from Shadows as well. And you've also got a true 4 there from Nigel.
Oh god. Right. Yeah, Nigel, do your worst. There's my answer. Now, he's asked me for a truth of the dare. I selected dare. We're still on board though with Nova Suado. He's got Sheriff Woody right behind them as I'm trying to ban a bot in the Twitch chat, which is not happening because I think Twitch is on a cooldown. But Sheriff Woody right behind Nova Suadia. He's not making the move at turn 1. The top 2 have really broke away, and Button, like a shark in the water as the Williams driver, he is now gained around 2 seconds to Jay and around 4 laps. Button is on the prowl, and he wants to get this done as quick as he can and almost as easy as he can, because the bigger picture is what lies in front of him. If he wins tonight, it's going to be, if my numbers are correct, Radical scoring 4 points right now takes him on to 90. Button winning takes him on to, if I'm correct, 79. So this will be an 11-point gap between the top 2 as Diddles Button and Jay lets him through. He's going to look for a cutback at the exit of turn 12. Button holding the inside line. It's going to make it awkward now through the stadium. Jay switching back to the inside. He's going to be around the outside for turn 16. Button still holds the inside. Jay around the outside looking for a cutback. Button parks it on the curb, and now that's him finally got the move done and is up into the podium places.
Yeah, good battling for the last podium place there. Button finds himself up in P3, but that battling has now made it that Mongo has a 3-second advantage, and Jay pulls into the pits already. Is this going to be an undercut strategy that he's going to be thinking of here? We'll have to wait and see if that's going to make the likes of Mongo and the Wizard of Oz react. At the moment, those two are still fighting very hard at the front, only 2 tenths between them. Just quickly in the chat. Formula Racing 4, what happened to the flow? According to Star, just got a snap of oversteer and sent himself into the barrier on lap 1. So no points for him today as Jay now comes out of the pits in last place. But he's made his pit stop now on the hard tyres, which will take 18 laps. And like I say, I wonder if we'll see the likes of Wizard of Oz, Mongo, and potentially even the likes of Panic End and Speedy, who are also on the medium tyres, come into the pits. Radical at the moment, looking very comfortable in P7. He's done his pit stop It's just a case of can he keep it to the end. Oh, we've got a yellow flag out, and I don't know what that was for. Maybe just someone gone wide at the end of Sector 1. But yeah, Radical just needs to, so I say that, a move for the lead. Mongo round the inside of the Wizard of Oz at the end of the back straight. Takes the lead for now on track. He has that 3-second penalty to his name, but he will now try bridge a gap if he can. But obviously the Wizard of Oz still within DRS range.
As I've been gave my truth there from Nigel, and it's a tame there from Nigel, I'll have to sing happy birthday to you. I will do so at the next safety car or at the end of the stream. So, you're welcome, Monkey Boy Chart. And don't forget to remind me, as Mondo takes the lead of the race and Wizard of Oz decides, you know what, you carry on, I'm going to take my pit stop. And that might be to cover off Jay, as Jay is down in 12th, got a bit of clear track in front of him to his teammate Sid Sandwich. So where will Wizard of Oz emerge? As there goes that gaddle of the midfield. That's going to be the Tattoo Star now, up in a net 4th with Speedy. You just see him going up the hill now, up towards turn 1. It looks as though Wizard of Oz is going to get out ahead of Jay. Is he out ahead of Sid? I think he is. It's going to be a test of the brakes. Sid holds it around the outside. He knows he's there. He gives him the space. Oz hoping for the better launch outside of turn 1. Now around turn 2. Sid's going to give him the squeeze, trying to help his teammate. But Oz has got the better grip, despite on the cold tyres. That is important for the Haas. He's now ahead of Sid Sandwich. And a little bit longer on that in lap, Oz might have found himself under pressure from Jay, as Edo Sid letting his teammate through to go unleash and chase after Oz.
Yeah, that's worked out well for the RB driver. He's in DRS, look, he's just within DRS. It's 8 temps. This has worked out brilliantly for him. He now get the DRS down the back straight. Mongo surely now has got to come in to try and get back within this front pack, or net front pack as we say. But Radical, let's have a look to see what the gap is between him and the Wizard of Oz. And it's currently about 8 seconds. Now you would think that Jay and the Wizard of Oz would probably catch up to Radical. Obviously, there's a yellow flag out, and that is Magic Ram. It's gone wide, maybe just lost the back end. Sheriff Woody gets a 3-second penalty. Here comes Mongo into the pits. But yeah, there's about a 9-second gap between Radical and Jay and Wizard of Oz. So you would think that on new tyres they should be able to catch that within 16 laps left of this race. As now Radical is up to P2, Tattooed Star P3 and David Lowface P4. Where is Mongo going to come out? Jay does the fastest lap of the race. Here they both come, and they're both out ahead of Mongo. Mongo's missed out here, and he's going to be around probably about a second to 2 seconds behind this front two.
Know what he needed to do. But Mondo, he will have the fresher tyres to the end, but it does have that penalty looming over their head. So that will be in the back of their mind. But as it is, Button leads the way. He's got a 7-second lead over Radical, who has not pitted yet, and David Lawface, as Oz, he's done what he's had to avoid as well. So now the advantage falls back to Jay. But can they catch up to David and Radical? The both of them within 1 second of each other, and they took their pit stop under the safety car on lap 2. So they can get to, let's say they can get to the end. It's going to be a trial to get to the end. But Button still leads the way as Edo Sheriff Woody making the move on a Tattoo Star. Sheriff Woody having a 3-second penalty and is not pitted as well as the Tattoo Star. I don't think the Alpine driver will worry too much about that. But he's now down in 5th as Wizard of Oz and Jay continuing their fight from the start of the race. Jay's going to look for a move around the outside, get the slingshot around turn 17, and Jay just not close enough. But he's looming large behind the Haas, who just doesn't look as though he's as comfortable in the hards as what he is on, or what he was rather, on mediums. That might actually be the fact that Jay's tyres, despite a lap older, are heated up a little bit better, and that might have actually what's helped him keep a clean slate for the moment.
Yeah, and that gap is coming down between Wizard of Oz and Radical. It's now 6.2 seconds. And surely, if they're going to go to the end of the race with no more safety cars, their tyres are going to be absolutely burning by the end. So you would definitely think that they're going to catch up. But the difference here is the Wizard of Oz has obviously got a 3-second time penalty, and so has Mongo. Jay hasn't. Radical hasn't either. He is 1.2 seconds ahead of David, so he will not be under threat of DRS. And having said that, David looks like he's about to get Sheriff Woody out of the second barrier, and I think he has just about got him out of the second. And he said, I don't think Sheriff Woody hasn't got a DRS. So here comes the Tattooed Star then. Is he going to try and go for a move up into P4 down this back straight? He hasn't got a lot of battery to use, and I think on this occasion, is he going to leave it? Ooh, he had a little look, but he wasn't further enough alongside to get past Sheriff Woody on this occasion. And that gap is coming down more and more. Wizard of Oz now to Radical. It's about 5 seconds, so they're definitely catching.
One thing to catch though, another thing to pass, I quote from a very famous commentator. But all this fighting too, Sheriff Woody and the Tattoo Star, they've not made the pit stop yet, and expect Oz and Jay, who's still right behind the Haas, heckling them, hassling them, whatever you want to call it. He's been a nuisance to Wizard of Oz to try and keep behind as we start the halfway stage, lap 14 of our Tier 3 United States Grand Prix. Mongo setting the fastest lap and has brought that gap down from what was roughly 2 seconds down to 1.4. So Mongo is catching up to the back of Jay, who was on the oldest tyres of the top 3. Radical and David still going on as Jay's actually looking for a move through the S's, and Oz is not having any of it. But both of them are really starting to catch up now to the Tattoo Star, who on 13 lap old tyres I think is starting to suffer just a little bit as we approach their pit stop window, along with Sheriff Woody and crucially Button. Can Button make up the time from his pit stop? He's got an 8-second lead over Radical, and let's check that gap back to the Wizard of Oz. It is currently 11 seconds. So as it is, I make that 14 seconds. Button's got to make up from his pit stop. But with all the fighting ahead and the penalties, it could play a factor later on, as Wizard of Oz is content to sit behind the Tattoo Star, almost braked a little bit too late there and ran into the back of the Alpine. And this is what's going to help David and Radical just keep these cars behind them as Magic Ram joins the 6-second club, getting his second penalty of the evening. He's down at the back, and I think it's just going from bad to worse after that earlier spin, as Wizard of Oz now starting to get a little bit frustrated now behind the Tattoo Stars. Now look for the move into turn 19. That's brave. The Tattoo Stars saw it coming though, and that is a brave move. And fair play to the Tattoo Star. He gave him space, and Oz is now up to 5th.
Yeah, Oz is on a charge now. Only about 2.8 seconds to Radical. They're definitely within fighting range now of trying to get ahead of that net lead. And Jay is now passed as well, and what Jay is doing very well as well, he's got no penalties at the moment, and he's got 50% of his battery as well, as the Tattooed Star gets another penalty. And Radical gets a penalty, and that is not what the championship leader wanted. Not even sure if he's going to get to the end, but now a 3-second penalty puts him level with the likes of the Wizard of Oz. And I think Jay now potentially has the net lead, or David, he's going to go to the end, but I can't see him hanging on to it. Button is going to come out in around about P9 if he pits in the next couple of laps, as now Mongo makes the move on the Tattooed Star as well. Those newer tyres are showing exactly what they're made of, as Sheriff Woody lets his teammate through the Wizard of Oz, and that's not going to be very difficult for the Haas driver there. Made it nice and easy, and now he's onto the back of David Lowellface, almost within DRS range. On lap 15 of this race, we're over halfway.
Jay's not wasting any time looking to make the move on Sheriff Woody. He's trying to back him up and let Oz run away a little bit, but Jay clean around the outside, and Sheriff Woody relinquishes 4th place to his teammate and is forced to sacrifice 5th place to Jay Undisputed. And you see how twitchy he is through the horseshoe. I think these hard compound tyres are starting to go off, and actually, will we potentially see a 2-stop race? Because if this is the hard tyre, after 14 laps, we've got around 15, maybe 16 laps to the end, as a Tattoo Star decided that is enough. He's in a pit off of the hard compound tyres, a little over the halfway stage of his race. Would it actually be worth maybe going for a 2-stop? I don't know about you, Monkey Boy Kurt, but that might be the way to go. As Wizard of Oz gets another penalty, that's 6 seconds for him. It's all falling into place here for Jay, but that 2-stop strategy, might that be the way to go after all?
I'm not too sure really. At this stage, Wizard of Oz and Jay can go to the end, as Wizard of Oz is now going to have a go on David. No, he's not. but they will drop another around 25 seconds if they do pit, and whether they can make that up in potentially 12 laps. I mean, if they came in now, they'd have to gain 2 seconds a lap every single lap. So I don't know at this point. I think Radical and David just kind of have to long it out and hope there's a safety car of some sort. Because if they do pit, they're going to go right down to virtually, well, I would think around about the low points, P10, potentially P11. They will be on faster tyres come the end, however, so they may gain a couple of places, but they're not going to be in the position they are now, which is second and third. But I can't see them hanging on to that second and third much longer. But I think now the driver we need to keep an eye on is not Wizard of Oz. He's on 6 seconds of penalties. He's most likely going to be Jay, who is got no...
Radical's in. It's a 2-stop for the Red Bull.
Oh,
that
David!
was a late call.
Sorry, I'm just going to butt in there. I don't know what happened to David. I don't know if he got tapped by the Wizard of Oz or he just lost it on traction coming out of the final corner. But he's trying to stay ahead of the likes of Jay here. But Jay's all over the back of him, and I'm not sure he can hold it much longer. As Jay now trying... Oh, this is getting very, very, very close. And Jay just needs to be smart here. He doesn't want to make any stupid decisions that potentially can spin him out. He knows he's got 6 seconds on the Wizard of Oz, but he will want to try and get past David as soon as possible. And there we go. We see Radical comes out in P9. That's better than I thought, to be fair, for Radical. So he's got 3 seconds to his name. He can now push on. He's on to another set of hards, though. I would have thought he would have gone for another set of mediums, to be honest.
I think with the tyre wear, really. He's only got the hards 14 laps. So I think another set of hards is the way to go, it seems. But Jay making the move now on David Lawface as Monroe's going to look for a double overtake. David knows he's there and is going to drop now down to 5th place. And I think for now for David, it's just what is the damage? Because you're on 10 lap older tyres to those around you. Button still leads the way, but he hasn't pitted yet. So he's going to have monstrously fresh tyres compared to those around him. And I think you and I can be doing our homework here, Monkey Boy Kurt, because as the Tattoo Star is having a bit of a to and throw there with Sheriff Woody, it's worth saying that we race on Tier 2 Wednesday 8 PM UK time, and be sure to check that out because Tier 3, a tactical race, not quite the fireworks we've seen, but almost like a chess race almost between Tier 3. What is the best strategy? Because Radical's on a 2-stop, Sheriff Woody is pitted again, and so is the Tattoo Star, both of them fighting for 10th place. Radical's now on a late charge. Where can he end up? Our championship leader for the evening. Button is going long, so is David, committed to a 1-stop race. And the top 3 as we started this race is how they remain on lap 18, crossing the line. We'll have 10 laps left of our Tier 3 United States Grand Prix and Magic Ram. It just gets worse for the Ferrari driver. Wizard of Oz 6 seconds of penalties, Mondo 3 seconds of penalties, J Undisputed clean, and he's got to keep it that way for another 10.5 laps, and we'll have another maiden winner in Tier 3, and it'll be our 7th different winner in 8 races, which alone in itself is fantastic from a viewer perspective, and even from a commentary perspective. You can't ask for more. Close quarters racing, and another overtake on track as Mondo gets the move done, and Jay down the inside he goes, and on the fresher tyres, Mondo is now up into the podium places again. But Jay, he has that handicap, or that joker card if you will, of 0 seconds in penalties.
Yeah, I feel like Button needs to come in now. He's dropped 1.4 seconds to Wizard of Oz on that lap, and surely will peel in, and he is going to do that. Whether he will come out in front of Novus, I don't know. I think potentially he could come potentially in between Novus and Radical here, or he might even get out ahead of Speedy. It all depends how long the pits lane is. I'm not entirely sure how long it is. But at this rate, actually no, he's going to get... it's quicker than I thought. I think he's going to get out ahead of Speedy here. He's going to find himself coming out in P6, I think. And yeah, it looks like... Yeah, he will.
Here he is. And that is vital for Button. He's not caught up in that train. And now it's full throttle to the end for the Williams driver. He's got 10 laps to make up 15 seconds. So you do the maths. 10 laps, 15 seconds, 1.5 seconds a lap to even catch up alone to J Undisputed. Oz and Mongrel do have the penalties. I don't expect David to be much of a problem for Button, but he's got to overtake at least 2 cars That being Panikend, who is not far up the road, but crucially, Jay.
What Button will want here, he'll want this front two to be fighting, which is exactly what they're doing now. And Mongo now takes the net lead of the race. Well, for now anyway. Obviously, Jay's still there without his penalties, but this is what Button will want. He'll want them to start fighting. He'll want them to start slowing each other down. And he's already brought that gap down to 14.6 just in this first half of the lap. He's been on the medium tyres. Mongo now, though, knows that he's ahead of the Wizard of Oz with penalties. He now knows that he needs to try and gain 3 seconds on Jay, and then he will be leading this race come the end. But yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, David at the moment, he dropped a little bit here, and David now will definitely try and go to the end unless his tyre wear really starts to fall off and he goes onto a set of softs very late on, I feel. Panicking in P5. He will need to try and stay there for his championship chances as well, as the Tattoo Star gets another 3-second penalty. Radical, I don't know if this is going to work out for him down in P9 with a 3-second penalty to his name. He needs to try and get through this train of cars of Nova Speedy. And at the moment, he's finding it a bit difficult, I think.
That he is. The DRS train not helping Radical. He's tucked up behind Nova Suara, but he himself is losing out to Speedy as well, and Button. I think if you're Radical, you want to try and at least gain 7th place in this race, because as it stands for the championship, Radical is going to score 2 points. That'll put him on 88. Wizard of Oz currently is going to finish, say, 3rd, regardless of that overtake, and retaking the lead of the United States Grand Prix ahead of Mondo. He's going to end up in 3rd. David tantalisingly just outside that 6-second window, and his tyres are starting to go off. So Wizard of Oz will find himself on 72 points. So he'll find himself in the mix as well. But I think importantly, Jay Undisputed will find himself on 70. David, as it stands, will be on 83. David, as it stands right now, will be 2nd place in the standings, but keep an eye out on Button. Granted, it's only 6 points right now. That's 68. That'll put him still in 5th. That'll actually demote him down, I think, to 6th place in the standings. Panikend storing 10 points will put him on 78. So as it is right now, we're looking at a situation where the top 6 will be covered by no more than 15 points, as with 2 races left. If you want to win, you best do it now, and if you're G Undisputed, you just keep it clean for another 8 laps, and you've got yourself a potential late charge for a championship.
Yeah, as Radical now, he's listened to what I said, and he's now making a move. He's past Novus, he's past Speedy. I don't feel like he's going to catch Button though. Obviously, Button on 2 that whole mediums, I feel like we'll just pull away from him. So his next target really is going to be Panic End, and that will, if Button gets past him, put him up into 6th place. But he has got that 3-second penalty, which Speedy hasn't. So can Speedy stay with him a DRS? As we head back to the front, Mongo, will he have another go at the Wizard of Oz here? I think he's a bit too far back on this occasion, as the Wizard of Oz has got his light flashing. And down on 18% battery, so less than Mongo. Mongo's almost got a full battery here, so he's doing very well on the ERS management. Jay's dropped back a bit here, and Jay's now 2.4 seconds behind Mongo, and that's almost the 3 seconds that Mongo's got to add on. So Jay now really needs to try and get a bit back closer to this front 2, as David now 9.1 seconds off the lead. Panic End is reeling him in, but Button is reeling them both in. I can expect to see Button go past Panic End on this next lap, and potentially we might even see David just let Button through, or potentially give him some DRS to try and get him a bit close to the front 3. Button is 11.6 seconds behind the leader, so he's making that gap come down. I don't think he's making it come down quick enough though in order to get up there for the win.
Just seen the background though, Radical, there he is, he's just crossing the line. Radical's not out of this yet, and he has pulled that gap now to Speedy B, who's now being overtook by Sheriff Woody. So the Aston just slowly starting to fall down the order, but the penalties will help him potentially score points on debut. But Button within 6/10 of Panic End, who himself is just outside the DRS of David Lawface. David pushing, trying to make sure that McLaren doesn't get the DRS, but Button wants the DRS off of the McLaren. Button will get the DRS, and I think Panic End has just missed it. We'll jump on board with the McLaren driver, and he's just snuck in. as there's more action at the lead. David now peels over to let his teammate through, but crucially Panic End as well. He's trying to defend, as I see Nova Suada from the minimap has spun where the flow has at the opening lap. He survives that though to carry on. That's David now getting the elbows out against Panic End. That's going to put Button up on the inside of the McLaren. David doing his best to defend and escort his teammate through. He's going to make it as awkward as he can here, but also doesn't want to back up Button too much, because that gap between Button and Mondo is now 12 seconds, and with 6 laps to go, crossing the line, it's now 2 seconds a lap here for the Williams driver, and time is running out.
Yeah, David's trying to hold up Panic End and try and allow Button to get past, but like you say, it's almost having a negative effect, because Button is actually having to wait for obviously David's 21 lap hold hard tyres to kind of, it's just so slow. And yeah, on that lap, Mongo has actually pulled time on Button. Even if it's a couple of attempts, it's not what Button wants. So I feel like on this next back straight, we'll see Panic End overtake David, and we'll see David just completely slow down and get out of Button's way. As we go around the first part of Sector 1, everyone's trying to keep it within the white line. It's so difficult around here to keep it within those white lines and start the penalties. As we go back to the front, just quickly, Wizard of Oz should just take the lead back, which he does. And David trying to make it as hard as he can for Panic End. Panic End is through. And like I said, we should easily see Button here go straight back past.
David's going to try and get the slipstream off of Panic End. Both of them don't have the DRS, so David's done his job there. And indeed he's done a bit of extra credit. And I go get him, says David to Button. He's now up to 5th place for the Williams team. And Button now, live standings, is on 70 points. Panic End is on 80. So make from that what you will. It's going to be 8 points between Radical and what will be 2nd place for both the Flow and Panic End. But Panic End will hold that due to countback and having that victory at Montreal. The Flow obviously not scoring because he didn't survive the opening lap, a snap of oversteer on cold tyres, and it's game over for the Mercedes driver. But will that decide the championship? As Magic Ram, I think she's just waiting for this race to be over, as with 5 laps to go, the gap at the front is 0.4 seconds between Wizard of Oz and Mondo, but J Undisputed is still driving with 0 penalties, and he's got, I make that 2 seconds between himself and Mondo. Mondo's on 3 seconds, Wizard of Oz is on 6. So as it stands, Panic End and Button need to make up that as well. 6 seconds to the Haas to make up a place as well. Who else we got through the pack? I see Radical's broke away from Sheriff Woody and is I think that's pretty dead set now for 7th place for Radical, which he will take. As with 2 races left, he is actually going to ironically extend his championship lead despite only being down in the midfield placings, as his hero's Button rinsing this battery down to 0 to get this move done in Panic End, knowing that the fresher tyres is going to help him through Sector 3. He's going to look down the inside at turn 13. Button now up to 4th, and now is it too little too late to make up the time?
I think it is, to be honest. 9 seconds is the gap. Well, there's the gap to 3rd. If he carries on, he might be able to get ahead of the Wizard of Oz, because he's got 6 seconds of penalties. So potentially we can see him get ahead of him. Mongo's got 3 seconds. He's going to have a very, very, very quick last few laps. And there's yet a flag out. Is that going to be a safety car? I don't think it is. I think Magic Ram's got it going again just in time. Oh, it's just almost spun it again. It's got to be careful. I thought that might have been a very late safety car there, but it's not going to be. Mongo keeps the lead, and Wizard of Oz will probably go straight back past again. Button now, 8.6 seconds. He's on a charge here, but he's only got 19% battery to use. So can he make use of these tyres? They're getting older and older, lap by lap. I don't know if he can catch up that much. Like I say, he might be able to catch Wizard of Oz with the penalties, but I'm not sure on Jay Lugo, as Radical now right on the back of David Lowface, but he's got to pull another 3 seconds yet.
And that I find very, very ironic. Both of these two pitted on lap 1, Radical converted to his 2-stop race and has now made up the time on David Lawface, he's still persevering. But I think for him, he also wants his race to be done as quick as it can, as Radical sees David fighting back into what's turn 13, but 8 lap hold hards versus 23 lap hold hards for David Lawface. It is a mismatch. It's a flyweight versus a super heavyweight, and Radical wins that fight with ease. He's up now to 6th place. Can he pull the 3 seconds? I think he will, really. So it's going to be 6th place now for Radical. Anything else above is a bonus, as with 3 laps left, a slingshot each other, and just to J Undisputed, who is now starting to fight back. Wizard of Oz, Jay is still in range, only just to take his first victory of the season, and I think actually our first cross-platform player in Tier 3 to win in Season 8. Actually, I tell Rob Sue won that in Australia, so Jay will be the second person to win on cross-platform in Season 8.
That flag's out. I think that's Novus's race done. Oh, and Radical's got another 3 seconds, and that's not what he wanted. That is not what he wanted. Now 6 seconds is the gap. I mean, to be fair, potentially you can still build it, to be honest, with the state of David's tyres. He can maybe still actually gain that, so it might not be as bad, but I do not think now he's going to gain any more. He's definitely not going to gain 6 seconds on panic end in 2.5 laps, so he can forget that. But Speedy, how far is he ahead of Speedy? Yeah, he's just about ahead of Speedy by 6 seconds, so he will keep that. But I do think he probably will gain 6 seconds on David. As Novus is retired. He stopped at turn 1. Oh no, he's still going. So the leaders have just got to watch out for that retired Sauber when they come round for the penultimate lap of this race. And let's have a look at the penalties. So Mongo with 3 seconds, Wizard of Oz with 6 seconds. So at the moment, Jay is taking this race win. He just got to stay within 3 seconds of Mongo. At the moment, the gap is 2.1, so he's just got to keep it on the track, keep it within those white lines, and keep it within 3 seconds. It's going to be very nerve-wracking for him the last couple of laps here.
That's it, Will. He's just got to keep it facing forwards as the RB driver, but crucially keep it in range of Mondo. But what he wants is Wizard of Oz to take the checkered flag first, and at least make sure Mondo is the one he's closer to. By the end of the race, Speedy B gets a 3 seconds. That's going to cement him in 9th. As I see, that gap between Radical and David is now 4.4. I think Radical, despite that second penalty, he does have that one covered. J Undisputed now 2.4 behind Mondo. And as we're going to start the final lap at Kota, this is now, I think, a 2-horse race between the Ferrari of Mondo and the RB of J Undisputed. Mondo taking the drop to Tier 3. Will he take his first victory of the season, or will it be the sister team from Italy, from Maranello? Will it be the RB of J Undisputed to take his first victory of the season in Texas as we start the final lap at the Circuit of the Americas? That gap, 2.3 seconds. The penalties, 3. J Undisputed has got to manage a 7/10 difference at the start of this lap, and this is what Mondo has to avoid. As Wizard of Oz is fighting him in towards turn 1, and he's going to try and carry this fight on here, but Mondo knows he's got to relinquish that, and that has lost him 6/10 to Jay, as Magic Ram picks up nothing more than a consolation prize for how their evening has gone. Misery for one Ferrari, it could be elation for another, but also Jay's looking to crash the party. Button's got a safe 4th. Radical's now cementing 6th with Panic End in 5th. But who is going to take that checkered flag first? Mondo or Jay?
I think Jay's got this. It's the fight in front of him between Mongo and the Wizard of Oz. There's a yellow flag out there. Who has made a mistake? I think is it David. I think it might have been David, but you just got to keep on the track. Mongo now takes the lead, but only 2 seconds in front of Jay. This battle between the two is kind of pointless because Mongo is clearly obviously going to beat Jay, Wizard of Oz, whatever the consequence. But as we come around now, the final couple of corners, Panic End and Radical are having a bit of a battle there, but Panic End will obviously take that position when the penalties come into action. But I think Jay's going to do it. We've got 2 corners to go, and it looks like he's going to have his first win.
Mondo doing what he had to do as Jay goes wide at the final corner, celebrating a bit too early. Is that going to cost him? I think he's just going to survive. Mondo takes a checkered flag, and it's Jay's day at Kota. Jay, undisputed, wins at the Circuit of the Americas. Finally, for the RB team, something goes our way. Not dissing my own teammate, but Jay undisputed. What a drive from him to take his first win of the season, and he has now broke down that barricaded door of the Championship Contenders Club, and he says, here's my name, put me in the hat. Mondo takes second, Wizard of Oz will take third, again played with time penalties like Silverstone. Button, a quiet evening for Button, shockingly, to take fourth. Panic End will take fifth, vital for him to catch up to the flow, but Radical, minimal loss for him, which is crucial to the likes of Panic End to take sixth. David Lawface take a bow, managing his tyres from start to finish will take seventh. Sheriff Woody back to points in eighth. Speedy V gets points on debut, and the Tattoo Star rounds out what has been a solid evening for the Alpine to take a point in 10th, his second points finish of the season after Belgium. Sid Sandwich will round the final corner, and Magic Dram a lap down, and even to forget for Magic Dram. What looked up has went down for him, and what is now looking like a very close contender for the championship. Is this the late charge for Jay Undisputed? What it is a victory and a priceless result for the RB driver.
Yeah, it's definitely what he wanted coming into this race. I think if he had anything less, he probably would have been out of a championship fight with the last 2 rounds. But that win now has definitely put him into contention. And I have to be honest here, this is no disrespect to Jay, I don't think he would have ever said that he would have been potentially in contention for the championship win come the start of the season, but he has been one of the most improved drivers in terms of pace, it has to be said, in this tier throughout this season. And he takes his first win, like you say, Cruiser, from Mongo and the Wizard of Oz. And those three, kind of bossed the race, it has to be said, with the strategy that they did, and in qualifying as well. Radical, unlucky, potentially chose the wrong strategy in the end, but he still finishes P6. So he'll still be happy with the points, and he'll still be happy that the flow obviously DNF'd early on, as he was his nearest contender. Both Jay and Wizard of Oz are on PlayStation, so I'm wondering if we can get some comments from them in the Discord, but I will invite Mongo to the party to see if he wants to say any words about his race to us on stream.
Yes, safe to say that Kota is known for its track limits. As there's your race director for incidents. Good luck going through that thesaurus. But Jay Undisputed, what a result for him. Needed, and he has got. As let's just say, good evening to Voshend in the Twitch chat. Welcome to FPRL, and I see you're interested in joining. Be sure to join the Discord link, which has been posted in chat through Diamond and Nightbot. Join that, complete the sign up steps, and we'll get you in for the final few rounds of the championship. Which, thank you for stopping by in a tier 3, because we're in for a climactic ending in 2 weeks' time. As we head to the showroom, I'll try and get a word from Jay and Wizard of Oz, but we'll see if we can get Mongo in for a quick word. We'll get the Haas up on stream though for our P3 driver, and I'll try and get a quick word from Jay and a race winner tonight. Let's see.
See if Mongo wants to join. I think he's just turned his Xbox off. Last seen 1 minute ago on F1 24. So I don't think he wants to speak to us. But oh well, it was a good race for him. Once again, like I said, with his performance in these races that he's took part in, he actually leads the championship if we were to look at it from a points per race point of view. So he's very strong, and I think he was definitely in the season from the start. He'd be up there in contention for this championship. But I don't think we're going to get him in. I think he's gone off Xbox. So hopefully we can get some words from Jay and Mr. Voss in the Discord.
That we will, but we'll throw up the Ferrari anyway for a P2 driver being Mondo. I see Wizard of Oz is typing out a message. Hopefully Jay gets the message quite quickly, but I don't know about Jay. But regardless, we will get a quick word from Wizard of Oz as I will do my check-in for our race on Wednesday, 8 PM UK time on the twitch.tv/FP Racing League channel. Don't miss that. Tier 3 did roll down to the wire. Tier 2 also looks like it's going to go down to the final day of the season. And Sip Sandwich congratulations his teammates, quoting him as a goat. Certainly a very strong performance for Jay. And I wonder where Jay's kept this in the locker, because I think Belgium, he done tyre management to get third, but the stewards swiped that off of him. Last time out, he ended up on the podium around Baku, and now a victory around Kota. Might be just the perfect time to start hitting some form for Jay. So don't count anyone out of this championship, but we will get the RB on stream for a race winner. And I think a quick word here for Jay. Might be not the only comment, but he says he just can't believe it's finally happened. Fair play to him though, man. That is absolutely deserved for Jay. Didn't put a foot wrong most of the race, and indeed all of the race. Kept the penalties to a 0, and has won for the first time in FPRL, and I think actually the first time in his league racing career. So while Jay and Wizard of Oz get their comments through Discord, thank you all for tuning in and for watching. As I said, FPRL will be back this Wednesday on the 11th of September for our Tier 2 race, before the 13th of September for our Tier 1 event around the Circuit of the Americas. Very much on the countdown now to the end of the season. And another word from Jay saying, I hope this is the start of a new era. Well, indeed, an undisputed era, it must be said. Shout out to them. What a team they were in wrestling. But I think tonight, it does belong to Jay, but there's still a couple more bragging rights to be had across our week in the States. Be sure to tune in to FP Racing League to not miss a single bit of the action. And before we do though, I'll have a quick word from Wizard of Oz and then Mounty Boy Kurt, our driver of the day. So Wizard of Oz saying, a decent race for me considering that Kota is not one of their favourites, and kudos to Jay on a very controlled race. And Wizard of Oz rounds out his comments with saying, I need to figure out a way to avoid the penalties. I think that just comes with experience really. That and a cool head from Jay to take the victory. So, Monkey Boy Kurt, driver of the day.
Well, I mean, yeah, certain drivers tried certain strategies. It didn't pay off. Everyone sort of fell back into place really of where they kind of should have been, I guess, when the race started. It's going to be another boring one from me, as it normally always is, but I don't think you can look further than Jay. I think this is the second time now I've given it to him this season. He's really, like I say, up to gear this season from previous ones where he's sort of been mid-pack to lower down the pack. He qualified on the front row. He didn't cross the line first on track, but he kept off the penalties, and that was what was important round here. And he's took his first race win and puts him back in contention for this championship with 2 rounds to go. So I think, like I say, for a second time this year, I'm going to give it to Jay as our driver of the day today.
Well, there you go. Jay Undisputed getting driver of the day, and I think actually I'm going to throw a quick shout out actually to another candidate I think for sure, that being David Lowface. Managing his tyres like Baku, not quite the same fortunes, but suppose the saying goes, fortune favours the brave, and David securing 7th place for his strategy. But I wonder what it could have been though if he did do that 2-stop. Could he have actually done a bit better, maybe top panic end? Radical managed it, but I think regardless it's all ifs, ands and buts for David Lawface. He'll take 7th place, more points for him, and as I said, do not miss the climax of our championship. Next time out it's Interlagos, and if you guys want to try and compete around Interlagos, as Cruiser Dodo is expecting some playtime, so I better make this brief. We stream on twitch.tv/FP Racing League, our YouTube channel under the same name, our X, formerly Twitter, FairPlayRL, Instagram under the same username as well, FairPlayRL. Discord links are posted all across our social media. Be sure to click the link, do the sign up steps, and we'll get you in for the ending of Season 8 and the countdown to Season 9? Question mark? As yet, Cruiser Dodo's getting restless. Anyway, that's going to be it from me, Cruiser1872. That's been Monkey Boy Kurt, also back in the commentary box. And I think, really, back to basics for Tier 3, that being, we don't know what to expect.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a thrilling last 2 races of the season. I say this every week. It's been thrilling every week, every single week. There's been, things that have happened that have really made us talk and really made us excited in every single race. But now we're getting to the nitty-gritty stuff with 2 rounds to go. Radical will lead the championship by even more points, but he's going to have even more championship contenders behind him trying to get their hands on more and more. So yeah, thank you to everyone watching tonight. Pleasure to be in the commentary box as well with you, Cruiser. Let's look forward to 2 more rounds of great racing in this tier for Season 8.
Well, certainly for us too, as we take to the chart on Wednesday. Here's hoping for some better luck this season. Hallelujah, amen, kumbaya, my lord. Anyway, that's been Monkey Boy Kurt.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Cheers.
And this has been Cruiser1872. Thank you all very much for watching. And from all of us here at FPRL, good night.